Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a much more personal video that I actually wanted to do. I was originally going to record this with many of the different videos from the beginning to up until now, with the special announcement of Lesser Known, but unfortunately, the audio clashed too much, and also I felt that in the first 30 minutes or so of that video, because it was at least like an hour and a half long, that I couldn't really. I got everything out in almost like the first 20-30 minutes. And so I figured, well, I'll do a picture video like this because I figured it'll be a little bit easier. But now, why am I doing this? Well, one, it's a retrospective on lesser known but awesome heroes. And two, I'm actually reaching, as most of you can probably see if you look at the playlist for lesser known but awesome heroes, I'm reaching almost 100 videos. Now, I say I'm because this is my main segment, but I will admit I had, most of those videos are like, events and, like stuff like the special announcement trailer, and there's at least, like 6 lesser knowns that had been done by F.W. Waller. So there have been a lot of contributing factors to that playlist having over 100 videos, but even then, it's still kind of interesting to look back on this segment and really really take it all in. I mean, almost 2.5 years, and on top of that, it's like just now reaching like 100 videos, yet it feels like an eternity, guys, simply because I've been doing most of these lesser knowns, and when I took that, half a year break or so, I wanted to get away from this segment because it's both a gift and a curse. It's a gift in the fact that I get to share my love of superheroes, and a lot of you guys seem to enjoy it. You seem to enjoy a lot of the lesser known characters even. Some of you have, dare I say, watched the older videos when I horrendously used to use a camera, shoot from my laptop, then Xbox Live Photo Party and all that. So it's been a very big evolution throughout the entire series of this segment. Because from the beginning, when I did lesser known but awesome heroes, I decided not to do a picture of it just to save time, because I have a feeling I'm going to be rambling on a lot in this video. But when I first did this segment, it actually started from Batman Brave and the Bold. I remember specifically it was called The Last Patrol, which is ironically why I have a picture of the Doom Patrol here up. Is because I watched the Last Patrol episode in Batman Brave and the Bold, and I was so captivated by seeing the Doom Patrol. I'm like, these are like DC's version of the Fantastic Four. It's like, why aren't they doing more with these guys? Like, why are they not being pushed to the forefront? And then I started seeing characters like Firestorm and Commandy. Saw like the Phantom Stranger, and I saw all these characters that were really obscure that nobody ever really talked about. And it bothered me, because I'm one of the few superhero fans. Move my mic away from my mouth just a tad bit there. Kind of like the Mount Vernon Kid and many others, I'm a huge fan of superheroes. I don't just pick, with one specific character, well, that's kind of semi a lie. I do read a lot of Marvel and DC stuff, but I am trying to branch out into Dark Horse and many other, different comic book companies, or try out many different characters. But what I find so interesting about this segment is that in the beginning, I did the Doom Patrol, then I did Dead Man, and then I started doing other characters like Guy Garner, Huntress, Aquaman, Namor, Dr. Fate. And I look back at those videos and I kind of cringe, because while it is the beginning of the segment, I also have to acknowledge at the same time as well that those videos were not the best quality, and this was also at a time when I was also trying to find my quote-unquote YouTube identity and get more comfortable talking in front of a camera as well. Even then, you guys know that I still, clear my throat, I still stutter, I still lose my place a lot in videos. it's very common things. I don't always script everything. I'm not a scripting type person, and I'm going to reveal the biggest secret of lesser known but awesome heroes, and this may shatter a lot of people's illusions, and some people may not be surprised. More than likely, you guys aren't going to be really all that surprised by it, but I actually use Wikipedia, or I use Marvel and DC wikis. I use a lot of wikis in my research stuff, mainly Wikipedia, because you can find almost anything on Wikipedia. Granted, there's not a lot of reliable sources, but even then, it's something that I look at. And I kind of see, and I kind of see, okay, this may be true, this may not be true, so anything I usually say in those videos is taken with a grain of salt, or if you want to do your own research on. And I think that's the biggest key factor why some people tend to mark down my videos, not just because they're trolls, but I think a lot of people mark down my videos because they don't like the fact that I actually encourage them to get up off their asses and actually do research if they really want to know more about that character. It's like, I'm of the attitude that I give you just enough information that I whet your appetite, and then you're like, okay, I really like this character sounds interesting, maybe I should go and try to find comics of that character. But I think the greatest joy, too, is being able to hear you guys, the YouTube fans, YouTube family, etc., be very encouraging, but also at the same time, be like, wow, I never knew this character existed, And it's so great when I hear people actually, give me personal comments and messages. Yes, guys, I don't ignore you guys. If I don't usually respond to a comment, it's usually because I'm working on other videos, I'm playing DC Universe, or I'm doing whatever. But I always at least check my email semi-daily for new comments and stuff. So I'm always watching, guys. I'm not just posting the video and then forgetting about you guys. It's just most of the time, I gotta be bluntly honest, I don't usually care to comment back. It's not that I'm being a dick, it's just usually I wouldn't have much to say depending on the situation. But I do I do look at the comments and I do try to respond as much as I can, but sometimes, I just don't care to. It's not, like I said, it's not me being a dick, it's not me being an ass, it's not me being egotistical, it's just sometimes I just flat out don't feel like responding. But I do read the comments at the very least. I do read the comics, I do follow a lot of my videos, I even check some of my older videos, see if I got any new hits, any new thumbs up, thumbs downs. I do check this stuff. And I do see, in a sense, like, where the quote-unquote money trail is going. So, I'm always keeping an eye on my YouTube, guys. I at least probably check my YouTube and my email and stuff at least like 3, possibly 4 times a day. So I'm always mobile on the internet, if you will. Just trying to look stuff up. It's like at the time of this recording, I had just finished actually doing at least 2 more lesser knowns, and probably after this recording, after it gets posted here on YouTube, I'm gonna have infinitely more done. And also, guys, I did kind of screw up with the Halloween one because I thought that for some odd reason, like Christmas, it starts on the 25th. But what I'm gonna do, guys, is that the week of Halloween, though, the actual legitimate week, I'm gonna take that off, give myself a breather, because I am getting burnt out doing, straight videos. And on top of that, guys, I'm working on the next batch of lesser known characters, because after I get done with this batch, which I don't know if I'll get it done today, I don't know if I'll get it done this week, I don't even know if I'll work on it during my week off from Halloween. But I am working on the next batch of characters. I got tons, but at the very least, if I get lazy, I got a couple of videos to hold you guys off, to stave you off just a little bit. And that's the big thing, too, with lesser known that makes it a curse, is that I always feel that I have to constantly make tons of videos ahead of time. Because I tend to procrastinate. I'm a procrastinator. This is why I haven't gone anywhere in life yet. This is why I don't attend college. This is why I don't do this or that. This is very bad. It's something that I've learned to accept about myself, but it's something that I do need to radically change, although I've made no effort to, but we're not going to get into my personal life. I've always liked the idea of the superhero, though, guys. I've always enjoyed the idea of superheroes. I grew up, worshiping superheroes, and I still do. I always believe, like, I'll never forget, yesterday, walking around to work, walking through the parking lot, 10 o'clock in the morning, sun is shining, it's out. It's that perfect kind of moment where you shut your eyes and you just listen to the wind and you feel the sun on your face and you think, yeah, everything is right in the world. And I imagine, this may make some of you laugh, but I imagine flying as Captain Marvel, as Billy Batson. And to me, that's the thing about superheroes that I love, is that they give that ray of hope. They give, that mysteriousness, that wonder, that awe-inspiring effect. And it's not just Superman, it's not just, Captain America, it's not the Hulk, it's not any specific character, it's just superheroes in general. A hero is only as good as the attributes that make him a hero. I feel the villains are good. The villains make it good, but it's also the attributes and motivations of what makes this character a hero, what makes them want to do what they want to do, what makes them change. Like Booster Gold. Booster Gold wanted to become a hero so he could become popular. I mean, here was a star-studded, college athlete, but he was throwing games just to pay off his father's gambling debts, and he ends up getting disowned by his family, thrown in jail, and he ends up, paying for it. And so, he ends up being a loser, and so he goes back through time to try to make something of himself, which is very admirable, although he did steal a lot of, the artifacts in the museum that he worked at, including Skeets. But I think it's also the death of Ted Kord that really pushed him. And it was when Ted Kord died that we started to see, Booster change into an actual hero. He started doing more heroic things and being more heroic. And that's what I'm elaborating on, guys. It's the motivations of what drives the hero to want to be heroic. Superman wants to protect Earth because he believes that, his powers should be for the benefit of all, not just himself. The Flash became who he was, because, he wanted to protect, the woman that he loves, Iris, but also protect the world from the likes of Gorilla Grodd and the Rogues. Batman, Bruce Wayne became Batman because he wanted to not only avenge, his parents' death, but he also wanted to make sure that no one else, suffered the same fate. Wonder Woman, became an ambassador of peace from Themyscira, but also, a strong, peace-loving icon, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can go through many different transcripts of really what defines a hero and what motivates them. But ultimately, I think the thing with lesser known that I really try to get across when I do these videos is what makes these characters cool. Hence why I put the title Awesome in there, because a lot of characters are really obscured. They're not really given a fair chance, or they're put in miniseries and oftentimes are horribly written, as blunt as that may be. And so many of them are awesome. So many of them truly are awesome because, they have a way about them. They have like I said, they have a mystique, they have a wonder, they have an awe-inspiringness to them. And there are some that are heroic, and there are some that maybe are not the most heroic. They tend to... I don't really know the defining word for it, if you will. But there is a... I think there is a great wonder to superheroes. And I think the evolution, too, when I went from the laptop stuff to because when I did the laptop stuff, guys, the older videos, if you care to watch, some of the original from like the first, on through to like the Asgard edition, I shot from my laptop simply because one, I couldn't at the time I couldn't discover this version of Windows Movie Maker. I had a new crappy version, and two, I had limited resources, so I had to use a camera. I mean, hell, I'm looking right now in my room here and I see the same camera that I used, all those years ago. All those years ago. It feels like it's been years, but it's not. I don't know. I'm rambling on as I always do, guys. But I still have the camera. I still have it to this day. But also I would try to memorize information and I'd get stuff jumbled up and this and that. And then when I did the Asgard edition and stuff, when I started using Xbox Live Photo Party, that was a step up because I was shooting at my TV. And the images were a lot larger. You could actually see them, but it was still, very bad picture quality. And so, and on top of that, my TV would be too bright or too fuzzy most of the time. And luckily, when I actually got this Windows Movie Maker program, that's when things really started to click, when it started to really come together, because then you can see the pictures. You won't be able to see my face, which who cares about seeing my ugly mug? But you get to hear my voice, and I can actually behind the scenes, go on Wikipedia or something and actually narrate stuff. I can actually read information off and I won't forget anything. And I can get the information that I want out to you guys, in the video while putting some pictures up of the corresponding character or characters. And I really like that. I like this setup a lot more because it gives me a chance, almost in a sense, to feel like, I'm doing a blog that's not a blog, if that makes any sense. I'm sure it doesn't. I don't know, I'm trying to sound cool right now because right now I feel like I'm very lame just sitting here talking on. But I look at this. I just decided to choose this Thanos imperative dill. I don't know, I like that, the galaxy's mightiest heroes. It struck me as something that I needed to put in there. But that's the thing with superheroes, though, guys. They are meant to inspire us. They are meant to be fictional. And Lord knows, I get tired of hearing, the general populace and the general audience, and even comic book fans in general, just, whine and cry about, especially with, like, Guardians of the Galaxy, for example, coming out from Marvel. And how many people have cried over the fact that it's not going to be realistic. Well, of course it's not going to be realistic. The thing about superheroes, the things about comic books, and I've reiterated this both angrily, snottily, and even calmly, and I'll still keep repeating it, is that they're not real. Grant Morrison himself even said it. Like Grant Morrison, he made a joke to a fan at a con one time. You can see the video on YouTube, but Grant Morrison explains, realism in comics. And he goes, these people live longer lives than we do. They live better lives. Half of them don't even age. He goes, but you got people, especially new readers, coming in, they go, what's the science behind all this stuff? How can, Cyclops of the X-Men, shoot lasers out of his eyes, and, what is the scientificness of that? And I love Grant Morrison's reaction because it's so over the top, but it was so funny. And many who know it many who have actually watched that video know how hilarious that was. For those of you that don't, he just looks into the mic at the con when that fan asked him that question, and he just whispers in a semi-loud kind of way. He goes, "They're not real," or "It's not real." And I love that because it's true. Comic books are not fucking real. They're fantasy. I'm sorry to put it that bluntly, but they are fantasy. There's sci-fi, there's fantasy, there's love, there's romance. Hell, Look at my defending comic books video if you want a reference point of what I'm talking about. Comic books are not real. They are a fantasy. They are escapism. And I get so tired of the movie industry and, the general audience and even comic book fans as well, griping and complaining about it. Hell, I know I gripe and complain about a lot of stuff, but it gets a little bit ridiculous after a while. And also on top of that, movies based on different characters. I mean, Jonah Hex could have been a great Western movie, but what did they want to do? They wanted to put steampunk, inside that movie and have him have voodoo powers. This is a great example of taking a lesser known character, anti-hero, or actual legitimate hero and giving them such a bad movie. Man-Thing. Sci-Fi did a made-for-TV movie on Man-Thing. And while it's certainly not bad as good for a horror movie, it's not Ted Sallis. It's not Man-Thing. They made it like a horror movie, and you can't do that. He's a monster character, but he should be a heroic monster. And I think what makes me laugh, too, is that they took like the 70s or 80s Swamp Thing movie, and they tried to basically say that that was a horror movie. Why? Why is it a horror movie? Because he's a giant swamp monster? This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about with, lesser known and even superheroes in general, guys. Hollywood fans and even newer fans and even the general audience, I gotta be bluntly honest, they're all fucking stupid. They're all blatantly fucking stupid simply because they can't wrap their head around actually finding a compromise. And let me try to elaborate as best I can by what I mean by that. Like, you can make the characters real. And by real, I mean give them human-esque emotions, give them human connections. But even if you put a character like the Hulk or Rocket Raccoon in a movie, you can give them the human depth and the human emotions. But the characters themselves are supposed to be goofy, fantastical. That's, I think, what made Avengers such a great success, was the fact that it wasn't real. It was fantastical, and that's the way comic books and comic book movies in general should be. There should be a sense of human emotion and depth, but there should also be that fantastical element, that wow factor that, comic book fans like myself or even, small children and so on and so forth, people that, want to see that kind of stuff, that, we get that vibe. And I think also it was that attitude that I took in watching that last Patrol episode of Brave and the Bold. And thus, what inspired Lesser Known But Awesome Heroes here was the fact that I want to bring to you guys characters that maybe Marvel and DC should consider, that they should try to make a decent film out of. Characters, or even just characters that you guys can look at and say, hey, this character is cool. It's like, why aren't they pushing this character? That's the main point here, guys. That is the exact main point. You should always strive. I think any comic book company should, you should push your popular characters. You should push your cash cow characters. Don't get me wrong about that. When it comes to the green dollar, pushing Spider-Man and Iron Man and stuff is good. But always try to push characters like Howard the Duck and, Jaime Reyes' Blue Beetle and stuff. But then again, they've tried that numerous times as well, and people just don't want to buy it. And it's like Rapperfest did, a video on that too. Why should people bitch about minority characters, but yet they don't want to support them? And I can see the valid point in that. Because if you're bitching about having, characters other than Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Hulk, and Superman and all that, but you're not willing to buy the book, to support it, to promote it, then why complain in the first place? And it's like I've gotten into a mini argument with, Digital Cat, aka, Seth, one of my closest friends that I've known for years. It's like he and I, he's a new comic book fan, and he basically blatantly on Xbox Live, we were having a conversation last night. He goes, you and many other people, bitch too much, Steve. It's like, you're never satisfied with the way Hollywood treats, these comic book characters. And I explained to him, it's not that I don't like Hollywood's treatment of these characters, I just don't like the way that they go about it to try to make a quick buck. Now, it's like, for example, there's a rumor that Rocket Raccoon and Groot are being taken out of, Guardians of the Galaxy to focus on Star-Lord, Gamora, and Drax. Why? And I explained to Seth, it's like, taking Rocket Raccoon out of a Guardians movie is like taking the Hulk or Iron Man out of the Avengers. You can't take a staple character that's popular with a synonymous team just because, it's going to cost too much money to CG them, or, it will look too campy and audiences won't believe it. Here's my response to that. Fuck the general audience. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Fuck the general audience. If they don't want to go to a movie and shut their brain off and actually have fun to look at something, these are the same people. They'll go and watch Expendables, and they'll have fun with it. But you mean to tell me that watching a movie with a talking raccoon that wields giant guns he should not be able to carry, smoking cigars and cursing and violently blowing stuff up is stupid? Anyway, guys, I've went off on a tangent here. I didn't mean to actually go on the tangent, but I just felt that I had to kind of correlate that with this retrospective of lesser known. But nevertheless, though, guys, in retrospect, I enjoy doing lesser known but awesome heroes, and I really hope, if my time comes or something happens to me for whatever reason, I really hope, like Ziploc Gory, F.W. Waller, Mount Vernon Kid, or at least somebody, or even like a whole group of people take up the mantle, because, these heroes need to be exposed. They need to be exposed to a general audience. Yeah, or expose it to a more general audience, and also, I just feel... And also, it's for those of you who really want to try to find new characters that, you want to read and that, you may like or find interesting. So, all in all, guys, I'm happy, about reaching 100 videos, but I'm also happy that I keep referring to myself, even though F.W. Waller has helped, and that most of the videos leading to the 100 were really just, like, I guess you could say, fluff and snuff type stuff. But overall, guys, I'm very happy. I'm happy to see this segment flourish, because it is a segment that isn't just something that I do for fun, but it's a very personal kind of project that I always strive to do my best at achieving and bringing to you guys, a quality product. I've rambled on stuff, and it's like, I have the passion, the drive, and the determination to want to bring you guys truly awesome characters. And I'm sure a lot of people will think, well, you droned on the entire video, Steve. I understand that. I have. And I admit this. This was not the best, retrospective video. But at the same time, you see the passion and drive behind this segment and my love of superheroes. This should be very obvious. And we're all geeks, nerds, etc. We're all fans. So I know that you guys have the same passion and drive as me, and that, you love these characters as much, or that, you'll find these characters interesting, etc. and so forth. So I'll get to work on my 100th video. As a matter of fact, every 100 videos, I will decree it. F.W. Waller thought it was a good idea, so did a lot of other people. But for every 100 videos... So for every 100 videos, I'll be talking about a popular character from Marvel or DC. Might be Superman, might be Spider-Man, who knows. I'll leave that a mystery each and every time that I reach 100 videos on this segment. But anyway, before I start rambling on again, guys, that is this retrospective, however clusterfucked it may have been. And so, this 100 videos, and may 100 more videos, and thank you all for the support. Because As cheesy as it may sound, without you guys, I don't think I would really have the drive to want to continue doing these kinds of videos. So, sincerely and humbly, guys, thank you all for your support.